Mahtab's story grew from an idea I had in 2001 in the atmosphere in Sydney of post-2011. I wanted to explore some aspect of being a Muslim girl in a big city in the West, and a friend recommended I speak to Dorothy Hodnott, who's a principal of a high school, Holroyd High, in Western Sydney. She set me up in a meeting with a group of young women who were all from refugee families, including Nahid, whose family had come from Afghanistan. And in that conversation I quickly realised that the story I wanted to tell was of what had happened to any one of these young women as they escaped a particular form of tyranny in the Middle East. I chose Afghanistan, and I was really fortunate that I gradually developed a friendship with Nahid, and really she and her family have been instrumental in this book being written. It's not their particular story, but there's nothing in it that didn't happen to either them or to someone they knew. So I couldn't have written it without them. Details of home life, of the terror of the escaping stage, of the fear and the loneliness, being stuck waiting while your father is somewhere else and you don't know if he's alive or dead. And then, of course, the horror of the boat trip that brought them to the shores of Australia. And of course the story doesn't end there, because there is that period of being in detention. It's the kind of book that I think every young person in Australia should read and know about. I think that the things that happened during that period are so awful and so against a lot of the ideas we have about a fairer community that the more people who know about that story, the better.
Seeing Libby Gleeson at high school was a great opportunity for me to express my ideas, my thought and my way of life and what happened to me, to the youth and young people who are living in Australia and are having a very, very much better, safe life than I used to be.
I think in the early drafts of the book I was very interested in focusing on what actually happened to this fictional family that I was working with, who had escaped from the western part of Afghanistan, had to cross the whole of Afghanistan, then to Pakistan and subsequently to Australia. I was very much focused on the reality of that trip, and of course I used Nahid's experience and conversations with her to fill out exactly where one would go and how you would do that. But in the subsequent drafts I also had to stop and think, well, hang on, how would a young girl in this situation feel? How would she respond to her parents, to her younger siblings, to the physical difficulties and dangers that she faced? And in that regard it was a real attempt to try and get under the skin of this young girl and go beyond the reality of the experience right down into what might have been going on in her own subconscious almost. Again, many thanks to Nahid, who just in our conversations would let slip things that had happened when they were in various parts of the journey, and an enormous number of those details in the book have come from incidental conversations we had, as well as detail that came when she drew me images of what the house was like, or detail of how the actual trip had taken place.
The girl in the front cover of the book is very much like Mahtab, because she has got a lot of fear in her mind going on about the next step that she's gonna go, where she wants to go. She's got a lot of fear in her hands, and it shows. And by her eyes, if we look very deeply, it shows that she's got a hope and she's very sort of strong about what she believes. The color green that she's wearing is a lot more peaceful than I used to think. It gives her, I think, the energy and the hope and the sort of dreaming kind of level that she would want to go to the stage. I think it would be a great story for everyone to read, because it gives them inspiration about life and how to believe in themselves and continue what they believed in. Thank you so much again.
Oh.
Yeah, since year 11 till now, there have been a lot of different things going on. I wanted to get to university, and I got to university. I've been having a part-time job, and I'm going to a TAFE course as well. It's a lot of things happening, and everyone says you are so getting yourself into busy things, but I think it's really good to get busy, because by getting busy I'll get to know a lot of different people from different cultural backgrounds. A lot of ideas would come to my mind that I've never thought about it, and I think it's really good, especially in Australia, that there are a lot of people coming around. It's a multicultural country, and I'll learn something new every day, and I think I should appreciate it every day and be so cheerful about it.